So let's move straight into the resource. So this is the home page. As you can see, we've got our navigation buttons across the top, so we can get to the different areas of the resource. And we've also got some quick links down the side here. What I'm going to do is actually just click into the introduction tab, just so we can go through a bit of background about this resource. So I'm just going to click into Nature and Scope. Okay. So if we just scroll down a little bit, we can see a few features here. But what I wanted to show you was the split of this primary source collection between Module 1 and Module 2. And these are chronological. Module 1, as you can see here where my mouse is, covers 1493, so the earliest settlers and their relationships with American Indian communities, right up to just before Lincoln's election, when it finishes in 1859. And that module was released last year, I think. Yes, last year. And the new module was released this last month even. So we're holding this webinar to celebrate the release of Module 2. But I want to show you material from the collection fully, so just give you an idea of what it looks like in its now complete state. So Module 1, as I mentioned, ends in 1859. We can see some of the themes it covers here. So colonial America right up to the Revolutionary era, and there's a lot of material on slavery and tracking what happens to those slaves through correspondence as they become free men in the North. Some of the highlights of Module 1 include the Henry Knox papers. We're going to be going through an example of that, and they're a fascinating set of papers that the Guild Learn have let us digitise. Again, the Livingston family papers are an absolutely fantastic resource for any scholars of 17th or 18th century American history, and they give a really a new voice to rural colonial America and the Anglo-American politics that was spreading out to the hearsay of the country folk. So they're just a couple of highlights from Module 1, and then as we move into Module 2, which again has just been published, we move from Lincoln's election, the Civil War, Reconstruction, the boom of American big business and industry, westward expansion, the gold rush, World War One, women's suffrage. We can see it all there. It's huge key events in the development of a world superpower, and all of this is tracked, and the primary source material gives new voices and new lights to each of these cornerstone events. But some of the main strands are, as you can see here, the Civil War letters, diaries, newspapers and images, and there's also some contextual and interactive resources which I'll be showing you at the end. So that's just a really quick overview of what this resource is about. Really, it covers 5 centuries of the birth of a country and the development of so much. So let's just get straight into the documents. So I'm going to click into the full documents list up here, and then we can run a search from there. So click View Documents. Oh, I forgot to get rid of a theme from earlier. Let's just clear that theme. Okay, so we have our full documents list here. This is what our search results page is going to look like as well. So I just want to quickly scroll down just to give you an idea. Let's maybe move to page, 112. So again, we can see some examples of the Henry Knox papers here, but I just wanted to quickly scroll down to give you an idea of just some of the documents in this resource, what it looks like in the flesh. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to run a search. I'm going to run a search for daily life, something quite refined. I'm going to run a search for daily life and Henry Knox. So I did mention the Henry Knox papers are one of the flagship paper collections within the Module 1, within the material up to 1859. And the reason Henry Knox is so important to this resource is, these papers have never been digitized before, and Henry Knox and his vast array of letters and correspondence, particularly with his wife, they give a really nice insight into both daily life in rural Massachusetts, in Boston, and the relationship between somebody in England trying to stay strong with someone on the other side of the Atlantic, and that it gives a really nice sort of everyman look at the Anglo-American politics of the time. So I'm actually just going to click into the first page here, which I'll come back to the document. We just saw the document details page there. I'm going to come back to that in a second. But first of all, I just want to kind of explain what this letter is really. It's one of my favourite documents in the whole resource. And if I just toggle this full screen, so we can see here this letter. An original copy is dated from August 23rd, 1777. And so just a bit about Henry and Lucy Knox. They were separated. They were married and separated as the Revolutionary War raged. She was a well-to-do daughter of a governor. He was the son of an Irish immigrant who was also an American loyalist. So there was a big divide between both camps, and their love affair didn't really work so well as the letters show. And there's a lot of divisive feeling about the fact that the daughter of a loyalist was married to this Irish immigrant American rebel, and this letter basically is from Lucy about her life in Boston, how boring it is without him, and her daily routine, and the sort of restrictions that are put upon her by the feuds between the loyalists and the rebels. And it just gives a really nice personal voice, I think, and it's just one example of a huge amount of voices that this digital resource brings to light. And there is thousands of pages of these correspondence. And to aid this, let's head back to the document details page. And to aid this, to make sure that this correspondence is as easily searchable and as discoverable and accessible to all levels of students, we do make sure that all of our manuscript material is really thoroughly indexed. We can see here this document has a really extensive content description. Our editors have been going through the material for this resource for years, frankly, to make sure that each document is summarized and has the appropriate metadata attached to it to make it as easily discoverable as possible. So if we just scroll down, we can see some more of the metadata. And I also just want to show you a bit of the functionality. So we can add this within this document details page here. Just a reminder, we come to this page when we click a document from our search results page. So on this page here, we can either go back to our search results, we can add this to a personal repository, which we call My Archive. We can add an entire document, download an entire document to PDF, or just a specific image range. And there's also a citation tool should students want to reference it, or scholars want to reference this in a paper. So that's just a bit of functionality stuff. I'm just actually going to head back to the home page actually. So that I just used the basic search bar up here, but this is a vast resource of primary source content. So sometimes running a basic search with basic Boolean search terms isn't really enough. So we have an advanced search page to really get down to the material in a much more refined fashion. So I'm actually going to run a search for Lee. So we're going to be looking at some post 1860 material now. I'm just going to run a search for Lee and surrender, but I know for a fact this is going to return hundreds, if not thousands, of documents, and that's not what I'm looking for. So I can either use some word stemming or some proximity values. But what I'm actually not going to filter by date. I'm actually going to filter by theme. Haven't actually touched on these yet, but all of our resources in this document are indexed by a theme, and this basically allows, well, we think it allows students of either upper high school or lower undergraduate levels to access some quite complex primary source material, but with a signpost to what the material is about, and we think it's a really nice platform to work off. So if I'm a student, I'm going to say, well, I'm looking for Lee and Surrender, so I'm probably going to want to refine by American Civil War. So I just want to apply it to any documents that have this theme. I'm also going to apply a document type as well. You can see some different document types here. I actually just want some military documents, so I'm going to apply that. You can also refine by sub-collection. These are mirrored by the actual Gilder Lehrman collection in Gilder Lehrman Institute in New York. So we mirror all of the collection references and all the boxes and sub-collections that they appear in is mirrored within the resource. I'm actually just going to refine by module 2. Apply that. I just want primary source documents, and I can run a search. Now, hopefully, I won't get thousands of results. It should be much more manageable. Just a reminder, if you have any questions, or if you would like me to maybe search for something for you, unfortunately I don't know every document in this resource off the top of my head, but if there's something you'd like me to search for, please put it in the chat box, and we can either run that for you during the next 10 minutes, or we can work through afterwards if you've got time to stick around. While we're on here quickly, then I might as well explain to you these things in the right-hand column here. All of your previous searches will be chronicled, so if you want to come back to them at a later date, that's no problem. Also, we have popular searches, which are put together by our in-house editorial team, and there's also some search directories as well, which are going to help you, get through the different subject types, the different recipients, especially if we're looking at correspondence or the person who sent letters or that sort of thing. Really sorry about this. Seems to be taking a while. There we go. Got there eventually. So we can see here we don't have thousands of results anymore. We've actually only got 43 because we refined our search so much with the advanced search. Just a bit about the search results page. Again, we can see any of the filters here. So if you do get too many search results, we can apply some additional filters, which, considering the amount of material, is usually very helpful. And we can already see here what we have refined by. So I'm actually just going to scroll down to here. And just before I click into this document here, General Order number 9, you can sort your search results by any of these as well. So title, date, the archive folder it appears in, or any of these. So collection reference, for example, if you've been to the archive itself, and maybe you're looking for a certain collection reference that you want to look back at digitally, it's going to be here for you. So I'm actually just going to click into General Order number 9. Okay, so we're back on our document details page. We can see the highlighting here where our search terms appear in the metadata of this resource. So let's just click into here. And the reason I wanted to show you this is it's what I think one of the most important documents to do with the Civil War in this entire resource. And General Order number 9 is dated. Actually, I can't even remember the date, but we're going to zoom in here, and we can even look. So that is April the 11th, 1865. There we go. General Order number 9. And what this is Robert E. Lee's last order and farewell to his soldiers in North Virginia, I think it is, yeah, North Virginia, before he surrenders to the Union forces. And he explains his reasons to his soldiers. He explains his reasons for surrender. But his tone is very different to what I imagine of a Confederate general. It's very humble, and it's very respectful to both sides of a conflict, really. And it, for me, as someone who maybe had some preconceptions about the man, seeing this primary source material, I think, gives a new light to these, you know, pivotal characters in American history. So I just wanted to show you that quickly. As you can see, they're all original documents. So I'm just going to come out of full screen here. And we are just going to head back to the document details page. I do apologise about how slow everything's being today. We don't seem to have very fast internet here in the UK. It's not the resource itself. I've used it at home, and it's, you know, incredibly fast. But we're having a bit of a heat wave here in England, and all things seem to be breaking. So I'm actually just going to head back to the documents page. Okay, so we saw a handwritten manuscript from Robert E. Lee there. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually just going to refine a documents list from, let's say, 1925 to, let's say, 1940. So we've seen some Civil War material, but let's have a look at some early 20th century material. There's a particularly a really strong range of NAACP reports. Oh, there we go. So there's a quite strong run of reports here from the 20s. A lot of State of Union addresses, a lot of presidential addresses, a lot of printed political documents. And we can see here again from which archive folder these come from. And if you do find a document that you think is interesting, and you want a quick way to get to some more material that is similar to that, you can just click into the archive folder button here in the search results, and it's going to take you to, you know, the archive folder that this document appears in and everything else. Just keep scrolling down just so we can get an idea of some of the material here. Some rare printed books in this resource as well. Now, I just wanted to show you this photo. So again, into our document details page. Let's maybe click into this one. We can see the thumbnail view across the top here. So, as you can see, photographs of African American soldiers from 1940. So I'm conscious of time. Oh, that's a bit too far. Hi there. I'm conscious of time. I'm just going to head back to the home page. It's impossible to show in half an hour the breadth of the material. But if we head to the documents page, actually, I just want to quickly just show you these themes again. Just give you a glimpse at the scale of this resource. It really does cover 500 years of American history, and it covers all the key events you could possibly think of, and hopefully just showing you this themes list of what you can refine by gives you a better idea. There's some really fantastic material on, you know, the rise of big business in the 1930s, and you know, the evolution of you know, big Western towns as America moves out west in the mid to late 19th century. There's some great material on that as well. But we also have our American West and American Indian histories and cultures resources as well, if that is your research area or if you teach in that area. So I've just really quickly skimmed over a couple of documents. I'm just going to head to the image gallery now. So we have an image gallery on all of our resources, and this is essentially, we've pulled out all the visual material that we like and we find within the full documents list, and we copy it over into a separate image gallery as well. And this, is great for, it's a really great resource for teaching if you want to maybe stick up a few images, for handouts, or to put up on a Blackboard site for a class you're teaching, or you maybe want to analyze a visual resource and do some analytical work on a sort of poster or a photograph. That's absolutely things that people are doing with this resource at the moment. So as you can see, this is largely a mixture of photographs, illustrations, posters, there's paintings, ephemera, much, it's endless. And all of these are in the main documents list as well, so you will find them in there. So I'm just gonna, let's find something good to look at. As you can see, a lot of portraits, illustrations and paintings of Abraham Lincoln. Now, we haven't really covered any of slavery abolition or sort of African American sort of documents in this resource, but there is a huge amount of material on slavery and abolition, and if that is your research area, then this combined with our resource slavery, abolition and social justice are going to be really good resources for you to sort of pair up. So when we've clicked into this, might not know what this document is really. So there is a drop down here, and it gives us all the metadata we need, all the context about what this is. So you can see here it's an oil chroma lithographic poster of an angel putting a hand on a slave, surrounded by vignettes depicting slavery, emancipation, and sort of key events in the struggle of the abolition of slavery. Again, if we need to look back at what this is or where it's from, we can see, we can see the title of it, we can see where it's from, which sub-collection, and some of the themes that relate to it. Okay, so that is really quickly the image gallery. Just a reminder, you just click into that, you just hit view all, and then you can, if you want to, you can refine by. We can see here we refine our images by date, by the type, the theme, again, as we saw with the main documents list. And lastly, we have the Explore tab. And these are largely contextual and interactive tools. Again, perfect for undergraduate students who are maybe new to primary source research, or upper level high school students who, again, haven't done that much primary source research. This is a great starting point for them. We have video lectures, essays, thematic guides written by our editorial board. This is the history of America in 100 documents, which I will come to in a second. Again, and there's some nice interactive features on, mapping Gettysburg and the way that moved, as well as George Washington's home, and a lot of bio and photographs on that. So that is American history in itself. I'm just going to quickly show you this American history of America in 100 documents once it loads. And the reason I wanted to show you this last is this is very much a takeaway message and a promotion, really. I mean, the history of America in 100 documents, which is 100 documents from the digital resource. They are free to access over the month of July. So if maybe you're looking for something to add into a Blackboard site, or you're looking for something for your students to look over, then this is a really nice one-page interactive sort of tool, really. I mean, we can refine by military history, and it's 100 documents that our editors have picked out that think, are keystone documents in this resource. So we can refine by each of these themes, and then we can, actually this is quite an interesting one, we can look at expenses from the man who invented the telegraph. We can look at the Panama Canal and some documents to do with that. Bit of bio, we can click into read more as well, and then if we just hover over, we can get a really good look at each of the pages. So you can see here some letters from DC to some gentlemen in Panama City, and we can flick between the pages here, and there's also some really in-depth detailed bio about each of these documents, about their context, what they're about, and that is completely free. We click this to go back to the home page, but that is free to access over the month of July. So you'll be getting the URL to that in the follow-up email that I'll be sending towards the end of this week. That'll have the link to this free resource. It'll have a link to the webinar recording. My email address will be on there, and lastly there'll be a webinar feedback form as well. So we really do appreciate all the feedback we get. So if you have any thoughts about how these webinars could improve, or things you'd like to see us do webinars on in the future, please do fill that in. So I'm actually just going to head back to here. I do appreciate that it's a whistle-stop tour, and if you do want to get to know, they do say that the best way to get to know this material is do it yourself. So please feel free to request a free trial. We actively encourage academics and students of all backgrounds to get to know this material, and it would be a shame not to see it with your own hands, speaking figuratively. So that is it from me. I hope today's been useful for you, and look out for the follow-up email in the next couple of days with the recording. So thanks very much, and have a great day.